Welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Oneuptwo, and joining me in studio is author of Entrepreneurship Revolution, a guide to applied entrepreneurship and strategies for success, book author Titus Manuel. Good afternoon, good evening, sir. How are you?
Yes, good evening. I'm doing fine. And how are you?
Now we're good. Tell us, what is the book about Entrepreneurship Revolution?
Entrepreneurship Revolution, it's a book that is written to guide entrepreneurs, especially the budding entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, on the journey they can take when they want to build successful businesses. It's actually an idea that I had when I used to consult SMEs on how they can start and build successful business. So I've realized most of the problems and challenges they were going through in their businesses were similar. So I had to see how I can reach out to the population out there. The only instrument I could use at this moment is to put it in a book so that everyone can have access to it in the market.
What inspired you to write the book? Just take us through that process, from getting that, just the motivation in general.
Yeah, writing a book, it's not really something that I planned that maybe I was going to write a book. But then when I was doing consulting with my clients, I've realized that there are a lot of books that are written out there, but then the content was not so in our local. And then I was also looking at many ways on how people were doing business. I just have that vision that maybe perhaps we need to change our mindset on how we approach the business that we are operating. In normal way, we focus so much on business trading, and then this book came to say, no, sometimes we need to become real entrepreneurs. We need to focus on creating value, solving societal problems so that we can create entities that can also as well add value to the country, as well as contribute to the economic growth, as well as also deal with the current high rate of unemployment that we are faced with.
In this creative process of writing this book, just take us through, how long did it take you, was it, and how was it putting describe the process of putting your thoughts on paper?
I can say the book took me almost close to 2 years, because I started writing a lot of pieces from 2020, and then I came now to realize that I had so much documents in my desktop, so I decided to see how can I compile this information and make them more meaningful to the public out there. So actually by the time I came to write, it was not a bit difficult because I've consulted a lot and I used to take notes while I'm consulting, and I've documented a lot of piece of information. So I had to go through and just see how I can compile it. And then I had to bring in a bit of holistic approach, which is just to speak about motivating the entrepreneurs, looking at their mindset and the mental health, so that when we start our business, we should be aware of what we are going to be facing out there.
Are you an entrepreneur yourself, or where do you get your ideas or your content from, that is now contained in the book itself?
Yeah, currently I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I focus on business. I want to be that person who want to do business full-time. I even left my full-time job just to come and do business. So through that process myself, I went through the same process. I have the experience. I've started from the ground. I've invested in business. I've made some loss here, and I've made some profit here. And it keeps me going, and that's how even when I'm consulting my clients, I understand much better, because myself, I'm into the space. I'm not practicing as a part-time, whereby maybe you get a salary or income somewhere. I live on business, and that's how my life is going to be. I'm building a career into entrepreneurship.
What sparked, on a personal level, what sparked the decision to quit your full-time paying job to do business? And how difficult of a decision was that?
One can say it's freedom. Yeah, one needs to have as freedom, because normally even when I was working, I was so much having part-time business. Actually, my first business was a part-time business while I was already working. So one needs to have freedom, and this freedom is the one that I think inspired me to go into business. And I also used to see how my one of the person that inspires me was my business mentor. I could see how they were living. It's like you plan for what you can do, and you set your own goals, and you work toward achieving such goals. You have to set your own self-determination, commitment toward fulfilling such objectives. And then you are not even limited, because sometimes when you're working on a full-time job, you are limited to set of operational policies and all those things. But then the other thing that also pushed me into business is also to add value. I've realized not all of us need to be employed. Some of us, we need to take those punches and see what we can get. And I also grew up in an entrepreneur business. My dad is a full-time business. His whole life he has never worked. We have been living on business. I think all those things have pushed me into that space and be comfortable into going full-time into business.
And then what is your as it now relates to the book, what is your background in business, the type of businesses that you were involved in, just to sort of give an overview?
Yeah, my first business was into media. I used to do this work of partnering up with people who have certain skills. Like my first business partner was into media. And then I used to be the executive director, assisting with the development of the business, doing the administration, the marketing, and the management. But then I came to realize sometimes our visions are different. And then I've done it with several partners, and then I came to realize our visions are different, and the way we think sometimes when we grow up differ. So that's when I came into consulting. I realized all this time when I was investing into people, building them, I rather let me just build a consulting business where I can nurture. Now everyone can come to me and they can consult me, and I can guide them on how they can start up their business. I gained my experience through that, through practical experience of investing with people. We do the business. When it does not work out, you jump out. You start another one, it does not work out, but then I realized, no, all this time I was just consulting. So let me just be a private consultant that anyone can access, and then they can get the service.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've learned doing business for yourself, be it positive, be it negative, but it's a lesson at the end of the day?
So the biggest challenge that I've went through myself is financial discipline. People say most of the time we don't have money, but I can say otherwise. I can say it's a challenge because sometimes we don't have the knowledge on how we can work with our own finances so that we can manage. Because while you are doing business, you are still living. You have expenses, and you have all those things that you need to cater for. And then you still need to share the same amount investing in the business. And most of the time you spend so much on the business itself, and then it's not bringing what you expected to come from the business. As a result now, as a person, you are going to go through some breakdowns and all those things. And this is some of the things that I can say. If an entrepreneur, you need really to be prepared on the financial discipline. If you are not careful with your finances, you might sacrifice everything and then you don't stand up. You might go down and then you are there. But if you are fine with the finances, then even if you made a bad investment here or there, you can still have the courage, because then you can be able to rechannel some of the finances that you have invested on the other side.
Do you think that there is enough support, emotional support from family and from friends to support entrepreneurs such as yourself? Because there tends to be this thing, say for example you have a shebeen or you drive a taxi, people would expect free service or expect to pay to get the good now and pay later. So how would you describe the environment or the life of an entrepreneur as far as support is concerned for businesses, emotional or financial? Yeah,
that is true. Relationship is one of the challenges that we have. Imagine if you are, let's say you own a salon that does maybe sell hair and fix hair, and then your wife wants to fix her hair. Will you charge her? Or we face those things. Yeah, but in my book also I've included the family discipline. I've included the family discipline. I looked at it. It's something that we really need to instill in ourselves, because the family sometimes the entrepreneurship journey, for example, it's a lonely journey. You will be there trying to figure out how you can do this and how you can do that. And sometimes if you have a good family like myself, I had really a good family. I have a good wife, supportive wife, and I have my siblings that supported me through. Yeah, if you have that good family, they can assist you with emotionally, just to check up. Sometimes just few words of saying, "Oh, you are doing great. One day you are going to be our millionaire in our family." It can push that person to go ahead. But unfortunately, in some instances, you have the family that will just not understand. Like, imagine you were working and you have a salary, and then you left. They will be like, "What's going on? Are you mad? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you?" But all those things are going to be there. But for family discipline, what I included in the book is the fact that you should learn how to live with a business by yourself first. Once you instill discipline in yourself, once you don't use up your business finances for other things that are not for business, even your family will learn from that this person sometimes used to be here, don't have anything, but his money is in his business account, he does not touch it. But if they see yourself overspending the finances for business, then also they will come. So what I normally used to say is you instill in your family to become third parties of the business. They should only benefit from what you are paid as a salary from your own business, but then they should not be part of the operations of the business. And I've included that section into the book as well, so that we can educate our family member to understand the norms and the practices of entrepreneurship, so that we can build successful business which have its own system, not based on a person as you, the owner.
Speaking about the book, what are the challenges of doing business in Namibia, and what solutions is the book proposing?
With the book, I focused so much on the entrepreneurs ourselves, on how we can govern ourselves, on how we can build ourselves, and how we can change our mindset so that we can be ready for the business. But coming to the challenges we have faced, I think there's still a room for improvement when it comes to support. While one thing I'm not really into politics or any like that, I'm an entrepreneur, but one thing I can say is that in Namibia we have so much culture of spending into administration than the real program that we want to establish. What I'm trying to say is that we might start a program that's supposed to benefit entrepreneurs, but then you realize that only 10% is being used for real entrepreneurs, and the whole 90% is going back into administration. Then we are not solving the problem. The policies are there, things are very clear, but then somewhere, somehow, maybe we just lack a bit of implementations, especially into local areas like small towns, and I think Windhoek is doing quite well. As we are coming from Rundu, I can assure you that there are a lot of things that are happening here, but for us to access them, we have to travel, and we have to come to Windhoek, even just to get some information, because sometimes it's a bit hectic. Yeah, but the main part that entrepreneurs are complaining about is startup capital. So if we could come up with programs that can really supply entrepreneurs with equipments and resources, I really don't believe in money. Let us not give money to entrepreneurs. Let us support them with what they need, the resources that they need. If they need equipment, let's give them equipment. If they need mentorship program, let's give them mentorship. I think that is the best way to go about it. It's not really about money, but it's about empowerment and empowering our entrepreneurs to be able to deliver, because we have different kind of set of entrepreneurs. There are some who are just opportunistic, looking for money, and there are the real ones who are really there, who are doing business, and they really need support, but they are just in isolation, and they are not making it, not because they are not committed, but because they are not getting the support that they were supposed to get.
I'd like to continue this conversation with you, but we're going to have to call for a short commercial break. So do stay tuned. We'll be back with more on entrepreneurship.
To another exciting episode of Oneuptwo.
Hier is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle monster kan byt.
Welcome back to the Evening Review. We continue our entrepreneurship journey with Titus. Can entrepreneurs thrive under the current economic conditions in Namibia? We had COVID, we have low economic growth and so on. Is that conducive space for entrepreneurs to be able to make it in Namibia?
I can say it's quite challenging. We really went through a breakdown, especially in 2019, 2020 at the beginning there, and it persisted until 2021. And I think most of the businesses are picking up toward the end of 2022, coming in 2023. It's a challenge that entrepreneurs has to go through. But I believe entrepreneurship it's all about innovative and being creative in the space where we are operating from. And actually, during this hard time, it's where entrepreneurs are supposed to be even more active and thrive, because then these things, they come with challenges. At the same time, they also bring opportunities. I've seen many entrepreneurs tapping into selling of masks, hand sanitizers, supplying huge bulk contracts. You know, it was an unfortunate situation, but those who were creative enough, they made some good opportunity out of them. Yeah, the economy is really hard. I think it's also a common practice now to say it's really, we need to look at entrepreneurs, especially the startup one, the people who are just starting business that have the potential of scaling up. We need to scout them out. We need to give them the necessary support that they need, so that they can be able to execute their business plan. So the economy is really, really hard, and most of entrepreneurs can attest to that. But then as a person, you need to be more creative and innovative, so that you can create a business model that can thrive through, despite the challenges that we are going through.
How would you rate, or what do you make of the support given by government, by banks, and so on? Do you think there's enough support, the conditions, enough support from government and from other state institutions, and from the commercial banks themselves, to allow businesses to succeed?
Yeah, with the government, I can say when it comes to policy development, they have done enough. I can assure you that in the space where we are operating, at least we have freedom to run your business as a citizen, or even a foreign person who came to invest. We have certain policies that at least assist us to start, and it's easy. I know it takes a little while to maybe 3 weeks to a month time to register a business, but it's there. You can easily register your business, you can easily start, you can easily open your business account with the banks. The only challenge I can see is despite the recent part where the government now have subsidized some of the business loan, maybe if I'm not correct, it's maybe 90% collateral free. But then it's still a challenge to some startups who do not have assets to present to the bank as collateral. I don't know how this thing apply, because collateral does not measure also whether this business is going to be scalable or not, but it's just a risk factor. So what I feel, despite having private banks, we used to have a SME bank. It was doing very well despite the challenges that we went through. We are all aware. We need programs that can mentor and provide, especially the equipments that the business people need. Let's say if a person has skills in graphics and photography, this person will need a camera for him to be able to operate, even if he has the skills. But if he cannot get a quality camera, he's going to work under a difficult space whereby he might be categorized that he produces poor quality work. Meanwhile, it's the cheap camera that he has that does not capture the good quality. So these are just some of the things that we can say, but the support is there. There's promotions, especially we also have NIPDB now that's supporting businesses, and we really appreciate such ventures. And Ministry of Trade, their doors are always open. When you need for assistance, they are always open. They can assist you. But then more support need to be done, an intentional support where we say, if we identify certain business skills, what can we do then? How do we support them so that these businesses should grow? Not only through the bank, because the bank, they are there to make profit. They are not really here to create employment for people. In fact, they just want money. And if you take a loan, you are even going into debts, and you still did not make a profit, and you're already going into debt. It's double risking. So we need intentional support from the government side and from the agencies that are introduced to support businesses, especially the MSME and the startups. We really need programs that can fund and as well as mentor the business community.
What are the challenges what are the challenges of youth entrepreneurship? Young people coming up and trying to do business. Yeah,
I think the main challenge is the experience. They are still learning. Most of the things they are doing, they are still learning. Some of them are just fresh graduates from universities. Some of them did not have experience and then it becomes a bit difficult for them. But they need time. They need time. We don't need to judge the young people when they are trying their businesses. I know when a person is starting to crawl, it's difficult. They need to be coached and supported. And then the other thing that I can say in the young people is discipline. I think discipline becomes a big challenge because it's not all of them that do not have money. Some of, even us, we used to work and then we messed up until later. Then that's when you realize, no, I was not supposed to do it this way. Most of these people, they are working, they get a salary, but they feel like they still need 500,000 to start a business, maybe a business that can only order shoes from China. But the person is getting paid. Why can't you start ordering with the little money you have and then you start building up from there? So financial discipline is one of the serious problem we have. And then the commitment. When you are starting a business, it requires your time, your attention. You need to be focused. Yeah, we want to do everything at the same time. You are at work, you are doing business, and you are still full-time into entertainment. So you are alone. You have to choose. There's an opportunity cost there. So once you become more committed and passionate about business, you realize some of us, we spend most of the time just with our laptops and always looking for information, what I can do, connecting with my clients. That is how I live my life right now. But 4 years ago, I was very free. I could do a lot of things that I'm not doing now, but I've chosen another path to say, no, I need to be focused on this. If I'm serious about business, I need to change how I live my lifestyle.
And then lastly, your book, Entrepreneurship Revolution. How do we get a hold of it, and how much does it cost?
The book is currently available in Rundu. We can get it at our office at Nando's Business Consultant. It's situated in Donkerhoek, just near Rudolf Ngondo Primary School. And in Windhoek, it's at Salient Investment. It's a bookshop in Ospen Plaats. And then in Oshakati, we have the stock there, but we did not yet place it into a shop. But if you call on my number, I can link you up. And my number is 081 43 91 422.
Just to repeat again.
081 43 91 422. Then we can be able to deliver. But in Windhoek, Oshakati and Rundu, they are readily available. For other town, we can courier it to your town.
That wraps up our evening review for the day. Have a pleasant one.